Did you know that the Earth population is estimated to rise to 10 billion at the end of 2050? As many of us people will not be having vegetable diets, we can say it's necessary to make the food industry, and in this case more specifically, the fish and salmon farming industry, more sustainable. We cannot only rely on wild fishing either, as that is everything but sustainable, leading to overfishing and negatively impacting the ecosystem. The salmon farming industry, however, aligns with a very bad stigma, and rightfully so. Many footage has been released in which you'll see salmons with open wounds created by sea lice, salmons having big tumors, being blind, or carrying other diseases. It's even said that some farms are still using the dead salmon at the bottom of the basins for food production. There have been specific environmental concerns related to the potential loss of biodiversity as a result from activities in the salmon aquaculture industry. These are related to the use of medicine for control of diseases and salmon lice, and the effect of escapees on the wild salmon. The efficiency of feed and farming systems can have an impact, for example, in the case of excess feed. This will cause eutrophication, which may influence the benthic ecosystem because of nutrient enrichment of sediments and the water column. To clear things up, we created two system loops. The middle represents the salmon fishing industry. The first loop you see on the left is a reinforcing loop. Among all consumers, there is a large demand for cheap salmon, which leads to industrialized, unsustainable fishing. This because consumer demand is so big that companies will find cheap and easy ways to deliver the demand and get a higher market share, not taking the environment in consideration. The second loop on the right is a balancing loop. Here we can see that the need for high profit margins for companies leads to a lower use of sustainable fishing methods. This again leads back to unsustainable fishing. The problem with our product is that people want cheap fish and that companies want a high profit margin. This leads to unsustainable fishing, which in the end negatively impacts our oceans and is bad for the humans who consume the fish. The proper initiative to steer the industry in the right direction is Aquaculture Stewardship Council, also known as ASC, which is surely having a positive impact on the sustainability level, taking environmental and animal friendliness in account. ASC certified salmon farms are no longer feeding antibiotics to the salmons, and are actively reducing the average amount of sea lice per fish. This is an example of good practice, but unfortunately still not the norm. When looking at the market of the salmon industry, it can be stated that they find themselves within the critical mass aspect of the sustainability within the industry. This differs from different geographical regions. However, within the EU area, especially Scandinavian countries where the majority of the salmon is fished, the industry is rather sustainable. With an eye on the future and to push salmon farms to become more sustainable, measurements will have to be taken. Many of the catched salmons bring a lot of diseases with them. In sea basins, the salmon spread the disease throughout the surrounding waters. Those diseases affect other marine life as well as the corals under the sea. By filtering these diseases out of the water, the surroundings of the salmon basins can stay clean and untouched. The government should be following Norway and give licenses and subsidies to innovative and sustainable thinking aquaculture companies. The amount of food against one salmon can be measured with a ratio. The lower this ratio is, the better. Specific measurements of food reduce food waste and make a salmon breeding more sustainable. For example, if 1 kilogram of food can produce 1 finished salmon, this is way better than if 5 kilograms of food can produce 1 finished salmon. It's also clear that the main focus should be on making conditions less harmful for the salmons, as they indirectly impact our health as well. As this industry will probably never become fully sustainable, it might be wise to consume a little less salmon than you were used to, but if you plan to buy it, make sure to look out for the ASC logo on the package. Lerøy Seafood, the second largest salmon producer in the world, is part of Norway's immense portfolio of fisheries around the country. Hence, it's no surprise that they contain multiple shareholders. both internally and externally. With overfishing becoming a larger issue within the European waters, they introduced the Common Fisheries Policy in 2013. The quotas set has had an impact on the amount of fish being caught. Being responsible for 1.75 billion meals every year, it's important to comply with these regulations and maintain their immense business operations. Hence, the EU is a stakeholder due to the regulations they must comply with. Similarly, Leroy is certified by ASC. They have sustainability standards on all aspects regarding fishing that they must comply with in order to maintain certification. Leroy are registered in Bergen, therefore the local community has a large stake in Leroy in terms of employment opportunities they provide the region and the financial requirements they have to the council. Furthermore, within their home area, they provide sponsorships to local sports teams and athletes to maintain a presence in their home roots. Providing fish worldwide and performing their operations in 9 different countries, these governments have a tremendous interest in the business, both from a sustainability and financial aspect, as they provide revenue through taxes. However, also want to ensure that the fishing is done in a sustainable manner, so not in a way which jeopardizes the future of their territorial water resources. Leroy is a publicly traded company, so are registered on the stock exchange. Hence, they have a financial responsibility to the individuals that have invested in the company. The managers and employees, of course, have a large stake in the company in terms of the performance of the company. Now, do you think the fish store has salmon with an ASC certification? And what about your next door supermarket? Thank you for listening. If you like this video, please like and subscribe.